Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are out on the launch pad today with a very special launch. Another Hoffle launcher. Yes, those things. Anyway, this entire mission, top to bottom, was designed and built by a human person, and it is going to the moon. We'll get more into the details of what it's for as we get through launch, because our relative inclination is right where it needs to be. So, ignition sequence, start. Light looks good, all engines running, clamps off. And 1.21 off the pad. We are in very good shape, provided of course that I don't screw this up. So anyway, what is this mission all about? I'm glad you asked, everyone. This was designed and built after the incident with Tremonia Station. I guess the original intention was to serve as a stopgap on keeping our lunar operations up and running. However, we lacked the tech to build it appropriately until very recently, and it will actually still serve as a service for crews to and from the moon and the lunar surface and Earth, but it will have a dual role, as we have many Kerbals still actively flying in our program that have been flying since the mid-1950s, and I think it's only just that we give them an apt retirement. Ooh, a little bit of wiggle. I have not test flown this, so this is probably going to take a little more concentration than I initially anticipated. Let's go ahead and get Smart ASS deployed now, kill rotation. It does tend to mitigate these things just a little bit. So, what better way to let aging Kerbal retire than in lunar orbit, where they can have the most spectacular view for them and their entire family aboard an orbital hotel. Yes. That is in fact what we built. Oh boy, this gravity turn is going to be really, really difficult on me, so I'm probably going to turn you over to new me with some voiceover and some sped up footage as I try very, very hard not to screw this up. Not screwing it up is always the hardest part here, but yes, as I mentioned before, this is a fully featured luxury orbital hotel, complete with racquetball courts, pickleball, if that's your thing, chess, video games, sleeping quarters, everything you could want from a high-end luxury resort without all of that pesky gravity causing your joints to ache and arthritis to flare up. It's fully equipped for a few years at least. Of course, that will depend on how many Kerbals we decide to actually retire on this thing, and this wiggle looks so much worse in sped up footage. I assure you, actually flying it wasn't that bad, although my ascent profile was very much off. So here's your first actual look at our orbital hotel. All of these spherical spaces are just places to hang out. We have rooms tucked off to the side, of course, cupolas for excellent views of the lunar landscape and the far distant Earth. High-end comms so that all of our retired Kerbals can keep in contact with deployed crews throughout the solar system and keep tabs on active missions as they progress. So, not too shabby. Initial service to the orbital hotel will be provided by the Nemo and Dory vessels launching from Kauai Potato Station. Of course, surface to station transport provided by a Shuriken Mark 6K. There is stage set. Our core is off and away, and we'll be finishing up our circularization burn here on the Hoffle upper stage. This version includes larger radiators for keeping this fuel intact for the much longer voyage to the moon than its usual intended Earth SOI ejection burn. Where was I? Oh yes, we do still have some support structure to ferry out to this thing before we can actually call our orbital hotel operational. We're going to give them a large fuel tank, maybe some larger life support stock so that we don't have to do resupply runs quite as often, and of course a Lunar Uber Mark II for those field trip days down to the lunar surface, in case anybody wants to go relive the old glory days and scrape some lunar samples. We're going to put this in a highly, not eccentric, but yeah, we're going to tilt the orbital plane a whole lot so that we can hopefully come close to being able to cover the poles, and maybe actually gather some new data from there, although it is, of course, is not the primary function. There is our orbital insertion complete, and now we can go ahead and start plotting our trip out to the moon. Of course, I would like to adjust the inclination of this flyby as much as possible so that we can put it into the desired orbit. I am going to put it retrograde because I like making life difficult for myself, and I want to be able to easily distinguish its path from the rest of our equipment in low lunar orbit. So we'll just go ahead and pivot around and get things set up and ready for our lunar injection burn, which we can go ahead and get this orbital hotel into its deployment phase, and then start bringing up the rest of its architecture in the very, very near future. We hope to see this facility operational by the end of the year and get our first batch of residents shortly thereafter. So, everyone, welcome to Hotel Coast Cosmos.